Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Chapter 3. Reminiscences of the Clowns, Another World. Going back in time, Kigali, who was taken from the battlefield by Feldway, regained consciousness just as Lieutenant Kondu was killed in battle. This was the result of being freed from control. But the current location was a different world that Kigali had no knowledge of. What's going on? Kigali tried to grasp the situation. Then she saw a familiar face. Dino. Hey. It looks like you're awake, Kazarian. I guess the Kondu guy is dead. You notice. I see, so the boss told you. Kigali was surprised to hear Dino call her by a name she had abandoned, but her gaze wandered to where she found Yuki. He was sitting comfortably in his chair, but his expression was blank. In other words, like Kigali had been, Yuki was under the control of someone. Kigali instantly realized that it would not be surprising if Yuki had revealed her true identity. Well, I don't know much about what happened to you, but to be honest, I'm more interested in that appearance. Dino said as such, looking at the current Kigali, who looked nothing like Demon Lord Kazarian. He's still so aloof and unpredictable as always, Kigali thought while releasing her tension. Actually, Kigali did not have enough fighting ability now. She may be above A rank, but in the eyes of the real monsters, she is a small fry. Dino's ability was unknown, but it was obvious that she was no match for him. Therefore, Kigali thought of the best move she could make at the moment. In other words, she was gathering information. So, where are we? Dino replied in a cryptic manner. Did you notice we're in another world? This is a special place, the place of beginnings, adjacent to all worlds, but isolated from them as well, the Heavenly Star Palace. The name was unfamiliar. However, it was filled with words of great importance. The place of beginnings. No way, the birthplace of Star King Dragon Veldanava. The place of beginnings was said to have existed before the creation of all worlds. It was a folklore that could only be remembered in mythology. It was said to exist, but no one had ever even seen it. How? To get here, you need a key to go through the gate, but I didn't know what it was. But now that I've been brought here, I understand. I'm not going to tell you, though. Kigali was annoyed, but remembered that Dino was a man who did not like to waste time. If he wouldn't tell her now, then he wouldn't tell her anything, no matter what she did. In that case, all she had to do was ask something else. I would force you, so just answer what you can tell me. How troublesome. We've known each other a long time, isn't it fine? What's in it for me? I remember doing a lot of work for you, so. Before Kigali could finish, Dino straightened up. What do you want to know? If I ask you that, you'll forget about the past, right? Yes, of course I will. Kigali smiled at him. Dino was still the same. Kigali was relieved to see that, despite the incomprehensible situation. Our boss Yuki Kagurazaka, why is he still under control? You just said the Kondu is dead. No way, you're really quick to guess, aren't you? I know you're probably right, so there's no point in saying it, but I'll tell you. You were dominated by Kondu, but Yuki is being controlled by the same person who lent Kondu the power. As I thought. It was an unbelievable fact that she didn't want to believe that there was an entity that could lend someone the power to control others. However, Dino wouldn't lie like this. He was the type of person who didn't talk if he didn't want to, so his information was more truthful. Yuki is being controlled. He has a very specific constitution that nullifies all skills, but the fact that someone has the power to break through it is scary. She wanted to get Yuki back to normal in order to escape from this place, but had no idea how to do that. In that case, where are my cute children? You mean the ones standing behind you? Kigali turned around in a panic. There was no sign of them, but that was to be expected. I see, so you've become combat dolls, killing mode, that just follow my orders. Kigali warned herself that she seemed to be in a hurry, even though she thought she was calm. Then, she released the order and returned Tyr and Footman to their former selves. Incidentally, there were also 9 unfamiliar undead elves standing in the line, but those were none of Kigali's concern. For the time being, she had a vague memory of the time when she was under control. She remembers being ordered to use the forbidden spell Demon Death Birthday, so they must have been created by that. However, it was not Kigali's will, and she had no attachment to those she created. Oh, Chairman. So you're alright. I was so worried about you. Ho. Tyr is right. Chairman, did the boss help you? No, he didn't. There's no point in hiding it, so I'll tell you right now, this situation is the worst. Kigali said so, informing them of the current situation. Dino didn't care that he was being ignored and fell asleep. I see, it's because we're not good enough, isn't it? That's not true, Tyr. Even the boss was dominated, so I'm sure we wouldn't be able to resist no matter how much we struggled. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to obey? Since there are no guards, can't we escape? Footman asks, and Tyr gives her opinion. Kagali's expression is dark as she answers. That's the problem. As much as I'd like to escape, we're talking about the Heavenly Star Palace, which is in another world. You can't escape using magic. Actually, Kagali had already tried the elemental magic. Warp portal. If there had been any sign of success, she had intended to take Tyr, Footman, and Yuki and escape. However, since the coordinates of the current location were unknown, the spell did not work. It was fortunate that I was able to break out of the control, but it was clear to them that I wouldn't be able to do anything with just that anyways. It's a shame, but that's the truth. Sure, there were no guards, but that was only because Kagali and the others were believed to be unable to escape. Dino. Oh. What? Just when people are about to take a nice nap. You still have questions. I don't suppose you could answer them, but is there any way we can get out of here? Do you think there is? No. Right. I've always appreciated your quick thinking. So you'd better stop wasting your time and keep quiet. The result was as expected, but still a stalemate. The Heavenly Star Palace is a very small flat world. It exists within the inner surface of a sphere, with the lower half being the earth and the upper half being the sky. It is less than 100 square kilometers in size, has only a temperate climate with no 4 seasons, and includes a beautiful chalk castle. But that was perfect. The flowers did not wither, the fruit did not rot, the water was clean, and the earth was moist. Therefore, there were always fields of flowers in full bloom, and the sparse trees bore sweet and fragrant heavenly fruits. In this world where time seemed to have stopped, there was no sense of change. Kagali and the others were waiting in the garden in a gazebo. From there, they could see the whole castle and, on the other side, the huge gate at the edge of the world. There was no sign of anyone coming out of the castle. But with the gates closed, it seemed clear that escape from this world was impossible. Therefore, Kagali was not discouraged by Dino's answer, and instead tried to calmly think of a countermeasure. However, someone came out of the castle to interrupt her. He was a man with a muscular physique and a fearless face. He seemed to be emitting a gushing spirit from his body, which indicated that he was very strong. Dino-sama, I am troubled. How can a man of your stature be so friendly to such a group of people? The man looked down on Kagali and the others in a very natural manner. Kagali was annoyed by this person, but put up with it for the time being. She had a cautious personality. Gnome, wasn't it? From the looks of it, it seems you've successfully incarnated. Yes. The body of a man named Vega was a very good catalyst. His regenerative powers are high, and at this rate, I'm sure the others in Dallas-sama will be able to incarnate as well. That's good to know. Dino replied, looking uninterested. Kagali, unaware of the situation, listened to the conversation in silence. Vega was definitely the Vega of power, one of the heads, leaders, of Cerberus. In Kagali's vague memory, there was a scene of them coming to this place together. Vega as a catalyst. Perhaps as a substitute for incarnation. No, that's certainly possible. That man inherited the blood, one of Rosso's research achievements, Magic Inquisitor. He is both monster and human, and can recover from any injury as long as he's fed. In other words, he would regenerate even if his arms were cut off, and in fact, there was even an experimental result that had shown that he would revive as long as his head was left. This is where the horrifying part came in. Even the parts of the body that had been cut off would attempt to return to human form as a monster with no sense of self. That was why Yuki had strictly ordered Vega to collect his limbs if they were ever cut off. But it seems that this gnome guy took advantage of Vega's traits to obtain a hollow body. Why did he need a body in the first place? What is his true identity? Does it mean he needs to incarnate, like a demon? No, judging from this divine presence, he's an angel. That would certainly be more powerful than possessing a human or a monster. Kagali thinks fast. She's lost most of her fighting ability, but her mind is still intact. And she had come to a rough conclusion. This man, gnome, is an angel or some kind of spiritual life form. And he incarnated in order to invade the earth. Vega is being used as a catalyst to create flesh. He may be alive, but he is not in a position to move. This was mostly correct, except that gnome's race was a phantom. He has strengthened his pseudomorphic body with magicule by fusing them with Vega's cells. In this way, gnome had succeeded in complete incarnation by incorporating the substance. The substances taken in were proteins and carbohydrates collected from the ground. In other words, all he had to do was eat. It was a different method from that of undead elf, but it was more convenient for gnome, who was a semi-mental life form. By the way, this gnome is one of Celerio's subordinates. He had been left out of the attack on Ramrus's labyrinth, and had been staying at home. Then Feldware returned with Vega and the others, and ordered gnome to incarnate. Zelario and his group returned in a timely manner and met with Dino and the rest. With the success of gnome as an experiment, the others began to incarnate. That is why gnome was the first one to come out. Gnome, a forward-thrown angel, is now a high-ranking subordinate general-level phantom. Because of his successful incarnation, he was now able to exert more power than the Demon Lord Seed. From Gnome's perspective, Kigali, who was almost the same as a human, was nothing more than a speck of dust. Therefore, naturally, he would speak as one who was superior to them. Kigali, right? You're just tools to increase our strength. You seem to have regained your free will after the death of Kondu, who was more or less a useful tool, but don't get carried away. Dino-sama here is nothing like you. Hey, stop it right there. No, Dino-sama. Dino-sama is one of the great 7 primordial angels. It is too merciful of you to speak so casually with these people. That's why I'm saying that Kazarium and I are old acquaintances. My name is Kigali now. Can you call me that from now on? I'd say it's a pain in the ass to remember, but it's nice that the name has been shortened. Alright, Kigali. Unlike her previous incarnation as a man, Kigali is now a beautiful woman. The name change didn't feel out of place, and Dino accepted it easily. Ignoring Gnome, Dino and Kigali continued their friendly conversation, but this irritated Gnome. Gnome's master is a former cherub named Dallas. A nobleman with great fighting skills, he was Hilario's second in command. But even Dallas could not match up to the supreme beings, the primordials. They did not receive their names only recently, like Gnome did. They were created and named by the god Veldanava himself. They were the great seraphim who had been destroying demons since the very beginning. To Gnome, they were like gods, and Kigali's attitude was unbearable. Even if Dino himself allowed it, it would affect Hilario's status if left unchecked. Thinking so, Gnome finally decided to use force. I told you not to get carried away. He fired a mass of spiritual energy, Tinkowden, at Kigali, who was sitting on a chair. Dino did not move. Because he didn't have to. Ho-ho-ho-ho. Is the long story over? Even so, you're the one who's being rude to the chairman. Yeah, that's right. Do it, footman. Kigali's dear companions and loyal clowns are ready to take on Gnome. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.